Hey guys, KingWorks here, and I'm excited to be back with another Firefall video. Picking up a little bit after where we left off with the first one, and I'm excited because I finally figured out how to get the video into Camtasia. I still have not figured out how to actually record with Camtasia yet, but I'm working on it. I'm also excited because once we get past some of this introductory stuff where I'm showing you the parts on my battle frame, how far I've gotten, we go through a little bit of a grind, and then I make a pretty interesting discovery towards the end of this clip. So I'm excited to show you guys, and if you are a brand new player, this might be a spoiler, so just to let you know. There is one weird thing I'll warn you about ahead of time. The background sound from the game itself cuts out right at about 21 minutes. So I don't know if that's part of the beta acting up. I don't know if it's my computer. I don't know if it was ZDSoft having trouble with audio. I haven't been able to figure that out. So if you haven't figured out yet, I am applying commentary to this after recording the gameplay, which, to be honest, is a little bit easier for me. Talking while I'm playing is something I'm not used to. It's something I haven't mastered yet. There are some people who can do it well, and I'm not one of those people. So we're getting started. We're in Copacabana, and I'm just showing you one of the spots I like to make as a waypoint right in front of your first mission to figure out what's going on with the water pump. There is like a bar, a tiki bar sort of thing, overlooking the beachfront. And it's an excellent place if you need to retreat for health and ammunition. And I was just showing you that on the map there. The mission I need to complete right now is to gather 400 silicate ore for Ratchet. And I'm nearly there. I'm at about 365 and out of 400. So once more with a thumper should fill that up. And I found through a lot of trial and error, more error than trial, really, that staying on the ground is pretty much suicide, at least when you are trying to collect resources like this. I found that if you are able to stay up high where the bugs can't get you, you have a much better chance of success, and it took me a while to figure that out. I also was happy to find that players in Firefall seem to be pretty friendly. You come across the occasional joker who likes to throw one of those boost jumps underneath your feet, but for the most part, when you're trying to get something done, such as collecting resources, people are happy to come in and help keep the bugs off for you, and I really appreciate that. That's not something you always see in online games. Of course, I say that, and really the only other online game I play is Team Fortress 2. So you see the wild thresher comes in there, and none of the bugs can get to me. The spitters can get to you if you're not careful, and if you get too close to the edge, the large, I think they're called terror claws, can swat you. And sometimes, and I think it's random, but sometimes you have flyers come in. But usually they're more focused on the thumper than they are the players sitting on the... there's a big terror claw rolling in right there. Usually they're more focused on damaging the thumper than they are attacking the players up top. But you can see some acid being spit on me up there. So you do have to keep an eye out. Even though you're not getting swarmed, you got to watch out. There are a lot of bugs that come out of the ground when you start thumping. So I'm trying to get my last little bit to complete this mission, and as far as I know, it's the last mission in Copacabana. I've killed the bugs. I've done the scan hammer in the different locations. I've scanned thumper parts, and I think this is the final mission that I found here. So once I complete this mission, I go through a little bit of a grind, and discover a few things. Probably the most interesting, see, there goes the thumper, so I complete the mission. and I'm going back to my waypoint at the bar, or the tiki hut, whatever you want to call it, where there's ammunition and health. And it's not that far away. You can make it with one good jump. And at this point, my battle frame has the jump jets that refresh or recharge at a higher rate, and I have the plasma cannon that it does slightly less damage, but it shoots faster. So I'm coming back to Ratchet because I think I'm coming back to Ratchet. I can't really remember. She doesn't really talk to you. I don't know if it's because it's nighttime or if it's because it's like the final mission. She says, "Come see me tomorrow." And all I got out of her was, "I don't have anything for you at this time." So I decided to go back to the MCP, and for whatever reason I thought there might be something interesting to build or create here. There wasn't. So I go talk to Ratchet here.
Hi.
And so after doing all that stuff for her, she doesn't really have anything for me. Not even any experience. So I was a little bummed about that. I was doing a little bit of grinding, as I've mentioned, trying to get some of the more I like the passive upgrades. I like the upgrades that you can just sort of slap on the battle frame and not have to worry about. I have the servos that do the enhanced jumping, and that's really the only upgrade I've seen like that for the servos on this battle frame. There are some I have that I don't use, like the afterburner. I just got that so I could get the next stage after that. And I think I ran into the jet here because I thought, okay, now that I've done these missions, maybe it'll take me somewhere else. I think Oil Slick says something like that at some point. I wasn't really paying attention. So when I realized that the jet wouldn't take me anywhere, I kind of look at the map, and it strikes me as odd that that's all I see. So this is where I decided to do a little bit of grinding. May as well get some more experience, maybe unlock something cool. And the best place to get the experience seems to be that front beach area where people collect the silicate for Ratchet. Because it just, like I said, whenever you bring a thumper down, it just attracts the bugs, and it always attracts one big one, either the big flying one or the big terror claw. That's where I accidentally, I think, did an engineer command. So it's a pretty good place to get experience, and at this point I had some players helping me out, so I thought, okay, it'd be nice for me to return the favor, and if someone is trying to collect their resources, I may as well help them out. Let's see if I have enough experience to purchase something extra here. So you can see what I've unlocked so far. Nothing really grabbing my eye at this point, or it might be too expensive, so I need to go get some more experience to pay for that. It's an interesting mechanic, buying things with your experience. Do you become less experienced after purchasing something? I don't think that's what they're going for. Now you notice this, it says Accord Guard. I started running into these guys and I wasn't really paying attention because I just assumed everybody with blue over them was another player. But I saw there was a guard there, and I was like, oh, some NPCs, they must protect the place from bugs or any sort of invasion. You'll come to see that there's more to the story than I first realized at that point. But we'll get to that in a minute. So I take my safe little perch up on that stone there. I think it's called a hoodoo, I may be wrong. An outcropping. And blasting away at the big terror claw, hoping for some XP. And they're not attacking me. It's not my thumper down there. So I think it's an engineer who placed that because of all the turrets. You can see all the lasers going everywhere. It's like a laser light show. And shortly you're going to see me make a discovery, something that I'm sure a lot of people already knew by this point, but I didn't. And that is the activation of a flashlight. Now, I knew there was a flashlight in the game, but I kept pressing F trying to get it to come on. Just my habit from playing Half-Life 2, I guess. So I had kind of given up on it, and then I accidentally discovered it. I was trying to press C, I think, and then, oh, suddenly there's light. And look, it lights up the whole area. Like, it doesn't seem to have a fall-off. At least not at that distance. So there I am, just sort of sitting up top, spotlighting this thumper. And the other players can see better, I can see better, except when I'm reloading, and then the light kind of goes everywhere, because apparently it's attached to the end of the gun. Which makes me wonder, do all of my guns come with flashlights? Is it understood that I take the flashlight off of one gun and put it on the other when I switch weapons? But it seems to be pretty handy, especially since I'm farther up and can look down on the immediate area. And I will say that fighting in daylight is definitely easier than fighting at night. Engineer, if he had to jump and put those on there. Oh, see, now I switched the weapons and the light stayed on. So apparently every weapon comes with a light.
Reloading.
But you can get a fair amount of experience built up pretty quickly. And then I'm jumping all the way back to my waypoint. This is a single jump here. I didn't have to touch the ground, I didn't have to fight any bugs. I just jump right back, refill, and then I can go back to my perch. It's a very handy spot. I did not record how much experience I was getting per visit, though. But 1 or 2 visits is pretty close to a new purchase at the Battleframe garage. At least for those first levels. Higher up, it'll probably take more. There's the big flying bug. Instead of a terror claw, we get that. The few times I decided to jump down and mix it up because I saw some health down there. Still haven't quite got the hang of the jump jets. I really like them, but they're not. Once you go forward and start building up momentum, you need to be sure where you're landing. I'm also starting to get the hang of the plasma cannon more. There is a little bit of a splash damage, not a lot, but I don't have to hit a target dead on, which is very welcome. There's also a drop-off. I don't know if you notice when I make those long shots, but it does arc down just a little bit. Not so much that I can go right over top of cover and hit somebody standing behind it, but from a distance you need to be aware of it. In fact, in just a minute you're going to see me start lobbing shots from the tiki bar. I was also noticing the controls got really jerky, and I didn't know if it was because I was taking damage on my battle frame, or if it was because of beta issues, connectivity issues. But there were some times in this session where it was really starting to kind of stutter and jump around. And I think at some point there were some comments from other players that popped up about the server stuttering. So it's a little disconcerting when you're trying to go backwards and your battle frame keeps moving forwards. I say battle frame, I mean it's really the guy inside it. Never figured out what that blue thing was down there. Something the engineer laid down. But this was quite a bit of experience I gained with minimal risk insofar as this game goes. Another one of the big flyers, which are kind of hard for me to hit with the plasma cannon. With the ground-borne enemies, it's easy to hit down by their feet and do the splash damage. But with a flyer, if you miss, and there's nothing immediately to the side of it, then you don't do any damage. And if I was dealing with a lot of flyers, I think I would have resorted to the machine gun, which is a bit more responsive and a bit more accurate. It also has pretty good range, too. One of my upcoming options is, and I haven't even made it yet as I'm speaking to you now, is between a new secondary weapon. I could choose a shotgun, which does massive damage up close, but has very short range, and a submachine gun, which each shot individually doesn't do as much damage, but it shoots faster and is more accurate, so you can do more damage in the long run. Since I don't rely a lot on my secondary weapon in this game, I have been holding off on making that decision. I just don't really know what I need to choose. So another trip back to the waypoint, and I think at this point I want to start exploring. I try to lob a couple of shots and just sort of get a sense of the distance. Try my hand in flying and shooting. I haven't really mastered that yet. I think that was one of the few times they actually noticed me standing up on the rock. They were paying attention to me and not focused on the thumper. But it was really cool to see all the players sort of working together. Even though only one player, the one with the thumper, was really benefiting insofar as getting mission objectives done. I was waiting for the health to regenerate, and it was taking a little longer than I wanted it to. A little bit of stuttering there, and I think the sound is a little out of sync here as well. And as I mentioned before, in a few minutes, the background noise is just going to cut out altogether. And like I said, I still haven't figured out if it was the game. I mean, I still had sound in the game, but it wasn't recording. So I guess it was the ZD Soft screen recorder I was using. Once more up top, looking for some health. There's some. So what do you guys think about doing commentary live versus doing it after the fact, just sort of overlaying it over the gameplay? It's definitely easier for me as a player, and I feel like I'm able to talk more and have more interesting things to say after the fact, after I've had a chance to process things and know what's going to happen. Also, since this isn't really... There is some discovery in the game, but it's not very suspenseful. It's not like sort of a Resident Evil or a Daisy or something where the intensity comes out in what I'm saying as it's happening or anything like that. I mean, this is pretty much just run around, shoot everything that moves. So I don't know if there's a lot of atmosphere or intensity or immersion that's gained by having it live. But I am interested in knowing what you guys think. I am interested in making this the best, highest quality video and commentary I can. And right now I'm trying to figure out what the purpose of this building is. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. You got these jump pads, and I'm not really sure what you're jumping up to. So I'm looking around, I'm like, okay. It seems to be an extension of the resort, but there's nobody here. And this is where I start exploring. This is where I start going outside of the bounds of Copacabana, and really sort of following my own path, I guess, because there weren't a lot of people around. There weren't, as far as I knew, there weren't any missions related to this area. I'm just wandering around looking at what they made. I thought maybe they'd have some resources out here, so I decided to give the hammer a try. And apparently that's a no-no in that area. So you see on the map there where I'm wandering, starting to wander outside of the zone, the Sin Tower of Copacabana. Sort of following the shoreline a little bit. And since I didn't really know where I was going or what I was doing, a little extra experience couldn't hurt, right? Now, I haven't been able to figure out if they're supposed to climb walls or if that was just sort of a weird glitch in sort of the physics engine. They seem to be able to hang out there pretty well. You can see I'm along the coast there, and I'm sort of looking at that river thinking, there's lights up there. So I decided to go exploring, find out what's up this way. There appears to be civilization out here, and I didn't know about it. On the off chance that there are any rare resources, I decided to do that in the river. So we are in a different zone. It's like an extension of the Copacabana resort, but it's kind of just off by itself, and I guess run down or abandoned, maybe. So I found another tower. Now this is the interesting part. I want you to notice that said Arclight Fragment Base. The Arclight is a ship. If you read the story when the game starts, there was a major spaceship and it crashed. It broke apart and crashed, and it was a huge catastrophe. This is a part of that ship that has landed, and some people have made a base out of it. So there's a Sin Tower here, and I link into it, and suddenly I have map access for this part of the map. So I'm looking around, and it doesn't dawn on me right away, but these guys are not players. These are NPCs. Do you remember the Accord Guard I saw in Copacabana? That's who these guys are. So you can see this new zone that's opened up since I lock into the Sim Tower, and I'm looking at that Thumper icon. Thumper crash site, what is that? So I decided to make that a target. Got to figure out how to get there. There's some very steep mountains. There's some steep ones here. There are even steeper ones a little bit later on, and I'll show you some of those in a later video. But so I'm going around these Broken Shores ruins, going out into the coral forest. You see a fence that's kind of knocked down. And I'm making my way up to the Crash Thumper, which I marked on my map. Local event. I have no idea what this is. This guy says, oh hey, you can make a lot of money off this, which means you process, well, you'll see, you'll process the parts and you get resources out of it. Suddenly I'm being shot at. What the heck? I was not expecting this. These guys are enemies, enemy AI. I do not know who they are. I don't know what their story is. I think they're called the Chosen. And they're really taking it out on the Thumper. When I'm not close enough, they start shooting at the Thumper. And I'm like, what is going on? I also noticed that they're shooting at the parts, which seems kind of strange, but, you know, whatever. It turns out that as long as the Thumper is there, they will continue appearing over a period of time. They appear two at a time, and they will attack you. And if you defeat them, some time will go by. You have time to go process all those different shards that fall off of it, get some resources out of them, and some experience, and eventually more will come back, more enemies. And I think you'll see that here in just a moment. Fortunately, they weren't too awful tough. I was able to take them, and they actually gave me some pretty good experience. They gave me more experience than killing like the big Terror Claw. I think these guys were about 95 experience apiece. And they are dangerous, but they're not too awful aggressive, so that's the good thing. So I was looking around on the map trying to see if there were any more of these. They pop up at random. They pop up in different places. So if you see them, hopefully you'll know what you're getting into. They won't catch you off guard. It's a good place to get resources. I kicked him there, I think. Actually, no, I shot him, and then the splash damage from the plasma cannon actually hurt me. So that's why I took damage there. And it was very lucky that I did not get taken out by those guys. I was not playing it safe at this point. I was getting kind of greedy. Fortunately, some of the resources they gave me were health, and when I saw the end of it come off again, I just decided to get out of there. So there I am back at the Arclight base, refilling, recharging. There's a battle frame garage in there that I hit up for some experience, to cash in my experience and get ready to find some more local events with the Crash Thumpers. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like what you saw, or at least found it interesting. If you want to give me some comments, if you want to give me some feedback, I'm love to hear it. I always want to know how I can make things better, how I can make this more interesting and worth your time. So until next time, this is KingWorks, hoping you have a good day, and maybe I'll run into you at Copacabana. Later.